Hey, what's up? Welcome back to KT Confidential, the real estate podcast, episode 243. And today we're talking about your property taxes skyrocketing. What do you think? Listen up and let us know. Howdy doody, neighbor.
Good day. How are you?
I'm very good.
So today we are discussing MPAC.
People's least favorite topic.
Yeah, so MPAC is a publicly funded, not-for-profit organization, the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, and they are responsible for determining the assessed value of all real estate across the province, and that is what your property taxes are based off of. The reason we're discussing them today is because usually,
well, your property taxes are based off of two components. What your municipalities set as a
tax rate.
Yes.
And the rate is calculated based on the assessed value.
Correct.
Yes. So the reason we're discussing it today, though, is because usually MPAC will do an assessment.
I'm going to correct you because I said yes. Your taxes are that rate multiplied by that value.
Yes. That's right. I thought we said that. Maybe it wasn't clear enough. The reason we're talking about MPAC today is because usually they do an assessment every 4 years, and they will come up with a new assessment at that time, and then they will phase in that assessment over the course of 4 years, and then typically do a new assessment at that point. They have not done one now for 8 years.
Almost.
No more. No, isn't it more? Yeah. Because in 2016, that assessed value, which would have been from, let's see if I'm getting my time right. I'm a bit confused. Yeah, it would have been 20. Yeah, okay. So they haven't, basically, we've had, since COVID, they put a halt on doing any new assessments. So they were supposed to do it in 2020.
Correct.
But instead, they just carried on with the same assessed value of your home based on the phased-in amount at that time, and it has been the same for the last 4 years total, but 2 years since they were supposed to renew it.
So if Adrian didn't totally confuse you in his last 60 minutes of his mumbo jumbo here.
I thought that was pretty clear.
It's been over 7 years since your property was last assessed.
Yes,
Due to COVID.
Now, this is important because, the world's talking about, certainly.
In the meanwhile, sorry to interrupt you, not really, the municipalities, for the most part, have increased their tax rates.
That's right. And as we all know, tax rates are multiplied by the assessed value, which is important because that's how much you're paying in property taxes.
Correct.
Annually.
And very seldomly do municipalities lower their rates.
Correct.
So they've been...
Milton did once.
They did once.
I remember once they lowered it.
Yeah, because they went from like 40,000 people to like 140.
Yes. So the reason it's important is because we actually don't know when they're going to do a new assessment, but I would expect it to be I would think...
They're working on it.
I would think it's going to go for next year.
Are we
going to do another estimate or a guess here? I think we both probably have the same answer.
Adrian's busting out his crystal ball to
2024,
predict.
Your taxes are going up.
Yeah.
As a result of a new assessment.
That's the guess. So, interesting you should say your taxes are going up because the first thing that it says on the MPAC website, if you want to check it out yourself, go to MPAC.ca. We'll talk a few things about that. But it says right here, will my taxes go up? And it says not necessarily. So when a province-wide assessment update occurs, the most important factor is not how much your assessed value has changed, but how your assessed value has changed relative to the average change for your property type in your municipality. So If you live in a newer subdivision with many like homes, then the chances of the value of your property or your taxes going down are going to be slim. But if you're in a rural area and maybe that area hasn't, why are you smirking at me?
Just you said it a bit funny.
Yeah. Maybe there's not a lot of similar properties. Maybe there weren't a lot of sales. Maybe it's not a highly demanded area, what have you. There is a chance that your property taxes won't go up, or maybe they'll go down, or, but us being in Halton region,
Yes.
so Milton, Oakville, and Burlington, Halton Hills, those areas, we're pretty well expecting these assessed values to go up significantly.
Yeah.
So, if you think about it, let's take a modest $200,000 on average increase in assessed value. And I think that's low, even as an average.
Well, let's talk as a percentage. So I was looking at my house. So my house is assessed at, and that's a whole nother discussion, is the assessed value from MPAC is very different from
its actual
market value. And so those two numbers have zero to do with each other. Okay, so mine is currently assessed at $619,000.
Right.
So as a percentage, how much do you think that would change?
Well, I don't know. If you were to sell your home today, what would it be worth? 1.3 million?
Somewhere in that range.
Right. So I have no clue, but I would say, I don't know, 20%? Does that seem high? Does that seem low?
No, I would think that would be reasonable. I would say 20 to 30 is what I was thinking.
Right. Because now you got to think that's an 8-year spread.
Right.
So usually they do this every 4 years. Now you're talking 8 years. So in 8 years, you break that down on a yearly basis. Is your property going up 2 or 3% a year? For sure.
Yeah.
On average.
Yes. Now that new assessed value is going to be phased in. So you're not going to be hit all at once. So it'll be phased in over the course of 4 years. But it does add up. So on this, if you've got,
so 20%, you're talking 150 grand.
Right.
So you multiply that by the current Milton tax rate, and you're paying, I don't know, an extra $100 a month or so in your property taxes.
Yeah, well, I pulled up some of the taxes. So Milton is 0.73%. Hamilton is 1.14%.
And there are rumors that is going to go up significantly in the next year.
Oakville is similar to Milton, 0.76.
Mm-hmm.
And Toronto, it comes in the lowest at 0.66.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton is quite high. And that's a consideration for people looking to move is your total cost of living, not just the cost of the real estate, because, you're from fuel and car insurance rates to home or property taxes and mortgages. There's a lot of factors that go into that.
Yeah. So you do the quick math, 150 grand times 0.0. What did you say?
For Milton?
0.734868,
if you want to be exact.
So 0.75%?
0.73.
What?
0.73. If you want to round it off.
Yeah. So I wasn't that far off.
$1,100 a year.
Yeah. So $100 a month.
Yeah.
A lot of people roll it into their mortgage.
Well, their mortgages have already gone up $500, $800, $1,000 a month.
Homeowners are really feeling the pinch now.
I wonder. So
think about everything that's gone up in price.
Well, literally everything.
Food.
Yes. Gas.
Like to manage your home now as a homeowner is getting friggin' expensive.
Yeah. Utilities.
No wonder rental prices are going up significantly.
I was chatting with Alicia about that yesterday. It's hard to believe, just to this rental on a 3-story, $3,000 a month seems crazy.
Yeah. And that's a 1,100 square foot 3-story townhome.
Yeah.
$3,000 a month plus utilities.
Right.
And you don't own shit.
No. But you also don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. Like paying property taxes.
Right. Yes, it's all relative. But I wonder if so MPAC didn't do the increase before when they were supposed to most recently because of COVID. I wonder if, given all that's happened with interest rates, if they would hold off again. I don't know if that would influence their decision.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Especially now that we've kind of, well, most people think we've hit the top in terms of interest rates.
I don't know.
If there's changes, it will not likely be substantial, maybe another 0.25% or something.
There might be another quarter or maybe even a half going soon this year.
Well, I read,
look at what's happening in the States. They did another 0.5 point increase.
Well, we usually follow suit.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's something you need to budget for. It's likely coming in the next 12 months to 18 months.
Gas prices have gone up. Like
but here's something, you can contest the assessed value.
Yeah. So if you go onto the MPAC.ca website, there is a link to, I think it's called like My Property or something like that. I'll have About My Property. So it links you to aboutmyproperty.ca. And you can sign on as a user. So you can do this all online. You just need your roll number, which is basically your ID number for your land registry for your property. And you can submit a request for them to, in essence, reassess.
Yes.
Request a reassessment. So, if you own a home like yours or mine, it's in a 10-year-old neighborhood. There's 100 other homes just like it. Good luck getting your value lowered.
No, but sometimes there are incorrect assessments. Like there was one we sold recently, and they had an assessment done, and I felt like it was quite high. I felt, after looking at comparable homes in newer neighborhoods, much larger homes, I told the homeowner that I felt they were paying $1,000 to $1,500 a year too much. And you can contest that. So you can, you can go online and submit everything online. You can submit samples of why you believe it's too much based on recent sales history, other homes' assessed values, stuff like that. So you can put together a nice package and submit it and apply to have it reassessed. Yeah.
I almost did that. So when my father passed away, I inherited a piece of land that he owned. And that land was a waterfront property, vacant land. And the assessed value, I can't remember, it was like $104,000. And I ended up selling it for $30,000. And the difference was, the last time it was assessed back in 2016, the property still had a building envelope on the lot, so you could actually build property on the lot.
Telling me about this.
But since then, the overseeing municipality for Conservation Authority. Yeah, so up there it was the Trent Hills Conservation Authority. They reassessed from their standpoint the property, and they marked most of that land now as wetland, as conservation wetland.
Right.
Which means you could not build within, like you have certain setbacks from that area, which basically pushed it out to the roadway.
Right.
Which means
Was there any warning of that happening?
No. Well, maybe there was, but my dad had stacked of unopened mail for years.
Right.
So if something came, he didn't pay attention to it. And that property was in my family for literally 42 years. My grandmother bought it while my mom was pregnant. Do you know what the
plans with it were at any point?
The plans were to pass it down and have it as a generational property. So my grandmother, when she bought it, she bought another piece of land on the same lake, on the same street. And that property we used as a family and went up camping on it every weekend. We would just go up on a Saturday morning, take our tent. My grandmother had her little fire pit. She would cook over the open fire. We'd go swimming, sleep for the night, go home Sunday afternoon. So everybody could go back to work on Monday. And after my grandfather passed away, she didn't want to maintain the lot. Nobody was using it as much. I had then become, I was probably 17 at the time. So I had my own car, I had a girlfriend,
You weren't going up there.
I wasn't going up there. So she sold it. And the people that bought it built a cottage, their home on it. But the other one, my grandmother kept, and she passed that down to my dad. And my dad was thinking about building something on it and retiring, but he hadn't gotten to that stage in his life yet. And when he passed it down to me, I thought, okay, I already own a cottage. I don't really need it, but it's been in my family for 42 years. We went up there every weekend as a family, so there's some memories. It would be nice to keep it, maybe build something on it. And I looked into it, and it's basically unusable. So,
was there any discussion with the new owner about the assessed value?
About the assessed value? No, I told his realtor that I hadn't had it reassessed based on that. So he was planning on doing it.
Yeah.
So I sold it as is, and the property taxes weren't extraordinary, but for me, why am I paying, I think it was about $1,200-$1,300 a year for something that's just sitting there and not really going to go up in value if it's not usable.
Yeah.
So in that case, I was going to have it reassessed, and it would have lowered because,
well, without question.
Yeah.
I almost feel like they should have done that automatically. Should trigger something.
So here's my point. They don't do it automatically.
Right. But if you apply for a permit, it absolutely will trigger a reassessment.
So what I also wanted to talk about, and you just touched on it, if you have done something that required a permit, like you finished your basement, you turned it into a basement apartment.
Should you get a permit when finishing a basement, Ian? Are those good words to say on the podcast? Seems to be a hot topic.
It's our all-time best YouTube video. Is that what it is? Best searched, highest searched video on our YouTube channel.
Seems like a common question. So if you do get permits for your basement, which we recommend, there is a downside that it will likely trigger a new assessment.
Correct. If you build a coach house in the back.
Absolutely.
If you just did a huge renovation, you tore down a home and built a custom home.
Well, and here's something.
There's a lot of custom homes and fully renovated homes in Halton region.
Yes.
Where if you look at the home and it's like a $2 million home, $3 million home, and you're looking at it going, wow, this is great. Wow, the property taxes are only $5,000 a year. That's awesome. Yeah. Wait till they reassess it.
Well, that's what I was going to say is if you are buying a new construction or like a home that has been renovated, certainly if it's a substantial renovation, be wary of the disclosed property taxes and contact the town or local municipality to find out if it's current, because chances are you could be in for a big surprise. And there's been many lawsuits where realtors got into trouble because this sort of stuff was not disclosed.
Mm-hmm. Hope the people that purchased our recent heritage home recognized that.
Which recent one? Or you don't want to say it?
Won't mention any names. Yeah, so that's coming down the pipe. We're guessing it's, we'll say 12 to 18 months away.
Yeah, it's inevitable. It's coming soon. So just
they're already working on logistics. Like this is a province-wide thing. That is a lot of properties to reassess.
Well, they say there's $3 trillion worth of real estate that they oversee.
Right.
And that's about to go up by 20%, 20 to 30%.
In value.
Yes.
So, yeah, can you imagine now the municipalities? That's a huge influx of tax income.
Substantial. The nice thing is it is a 4-year phased-in program, so you're not hit immediately with a substantial change. But any adjustment, then the same year that comes into effect, it's likely the municipalities may change their rates, so that can, compound that amount. So just something to be aware of.
Again, that on top of...
And mortgage rate. A lot of people renewing mortgages next year.
Maybe that'll be a topic coming up on the podcast, because we're going to have mortgage rate renewals, higher property taxes, hydro is up, natural gas prices are up, food prices are up. And your salaries are staying the same.
You have to start garage sailing.
Yeah. Start that side hustle.
Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, me too. How you guys feeling out there about your property taxes and potentially paying, on average, $1,000 a year more?
I know some people out there flying under the radar with unusually low assessed values.
Oh yeah, wink, wink.
I'm not going to mention any addresses, but they're quite happy with it. I'm sure they're not going to complain.
Yeah. All right. See you next week.
Ciao.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about your property taxes and potentially paying $1,000 a month, a year, $1,000 a year more on your
$1,000 a month.
Woo! Leave a comment. We'll see you next week.